Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I believe now we are on Facebook. Alhamdulillah. So I would like to apologize to our viewers on Instagram. This was supposed to be on our Instagram, but unfortunately we had some technical issues. That inshallah now we're on Facebook, and I'm going to share the link on my IG story for this live, so you can catch up on our live here, inshallah. And of course, anything on Facebook is going to be there, so you can watch the recording, inshallah. So I would like to welcome my guest for today, Dr. Kiran Nijabat from England, who is a child and adolescent psychiatrist, mashallah. And the topic that we're going to discuss about today is very dear to me because it really relates to who I am, and what I go through in Ramadan. So which is our tips for Ramadan and fasting for individuals with ADHD. Before that, Dr. Kiran, would you like to introduce yourself, inshallah?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak today. And again, apologies for the technical errors earlier. So my name's Dr. Kiran. I'm a child and adolescent consultant psychiatrist based in London, UK. And I work with children and young people that present with a number of difficulties, including autism, ADHD, and also those that are depressed and anxious as well. I do assessment, so diagnostics, as well as management of these difficulties. And I love and spend a lot of my time doing psychoeducation work. So you may have seen on my Instagram posts where I try to educate children, families, and professionals that work with children and young people to help support them.
Mashallah, mashallah. And which part of England are you in?
I'm in London.
Oh, mashallah. I used to live in London actually when I was younger because my mum did her PhD. We lived in Finchley. I'm not sure whether that's close to where you are.
I live in Finchley.
Really? I used to live in I used to go to school in Squires Lane, Maniside, and then we lived in
What a small world.
I can't remember the road now. East End Road.
I know that road very well.
Yes, and then North Finchley, Arkley Mansions. Ya Allah, I was just opposite of Waitrose. So, mashallah, so nice to know that.
Wow. So I only recently moved actually from North Finchley, not very far to Arkley, which is in Barnet, but it's very, very close. But I've also, whereabouts are you in Malaysia? Because I visited Malaysia for my honeymoon.
Oh, mashallah. So I'm Bangi, which is like 20 minutes away from, 20 to 30 minutes away, depending on the jam, from KL. So
okay.
Around 20 to 30 minutes away from the city center. Not that far. Maybe like Finchley, from North London to Central London, like that kind of distance. Yeah.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah.
So how long did you live in London for?
Almost 4 years. When I was 9, we went there when I was 8 plus, and then we left when I was like 12 to 13 kind of age. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I really enjoyed going to school there, mashallah. And my mom did her PhD. She's an ophthalmologist. So yeah, she was in Moorfields Eye Hospital. Alhamdulillah.
Wow, mashallah.
Yeah, so I think living there left a big mark in myself, It's one of the most fondest memories I had as a child. Alhamdulillah. So coming back to our topic, sometimes when I was first diagnosed with ADHD, the first thing I asked my doctor was like, how did I pass medical school? So I worked as a doctor for a while. Then I decided, no, it's not for me. I'm going to change my, career to something else because But when I got diagnosed, I started to know why maybe I wasn't into like just one field. I like to have something of something different, something that is more like I'm my own boss kind of thing, Subhanallah. But then I asked my doctor, how come I managed to graduate from medical school? And I think, I did quite well in school. And I'm sure that you work a lot with patients who are neurodivergent, and it's not the case of IQ or, the ability to pass exams, right? Even if you have any diagnosis. So my question to you is, what if somebody who's watching right now is thinking that, I think I have symptoms of ADHD, but I'm doing quite well, in my studies or in my career? Could you touch on that, inshallah?
Yes. So I think, first of all, I just wanted to touch on what the symptoms of ADHD are, because some people may not know.
Yeah.
So actually it presents very differently to girls than it does to boys.
Uh-huh.
So with boys, classically, we see that they are quite hyperactive, fidgety. They find it difficult to sit still. They find it difficult to focus. They interrupt conversations a lot, and they're just generally kind of always on the go, and a lot louder than maybe girls might appear. So with girls, maybe like in your own case, it may have been that you may have come across as maybe daydreaming, or you know, not always focused, but you managed to get through, like you know, by paying attention at certain points in the class. Sometimes girls are described as a bit ditzy, a bit kind of like, you know, scatty, so not always remembering things, quite forgetful.
Yes.
And actually, girls tend to find it difficult to kind of maintain friendships sometimes, because sometimes what will happen is the impulsivity presents in a different way to boys. So what girls might do is they might say something inappropriate, or they might have forgotten that they shouldn't have said something, and then they regret saying it afterwards, and then that has an impact on their self-confidence, their esteem, and their relationships. So I think if someone, I know a lot of people through the video that I posted on ADHD in girls and women, a lot of people felt that they could relate to it, and they said, oh, I think I've got this because I have problems with attention. I have problems with being organized. I'm quite forgetful. I'm quite ditzy. So I think it's important to say that lots of women can experience these symptoms at many stages in their life. So this could be, for example, throughout adolescence. It could be also during key milestones in their life. So, for example, when having children, you know, when you've had lack of sleep and you're not able to necessarily pay attention in the same way that you might have when you were younger. Women that go through the menopause, they actually have something that looks very similar to ADHD. So it's called having brain fog, where, you know, you just feel quite forgetful, you can't pay attention to things, you can't focus. And so actually it might not be ADHD, it might be other things, hormones, for example, anxiety. It might just be that particular stage in your life that you're experiencing so much that therefore you think it's ADHD, but it might not be. And the way to diagnose ADHD is that it's got to, for children, it needs to occur in more than two environments. So, sorry, more than one environment. So it needs to be present. These symptoms need to be present both at home and at school. And the same for adults, it should be kind of more than one environment, not just at home, but also within the workplace, or, you know, within the community. It's not just limited to one environment. And it has a significant impact on your functioning, to the point where it intervenes in your everyday quality of life. So it could be your sleep, it could be your mood, it could be the impact on your relationships, your ability to function at work. I think when it starts to have a huge, significant impact on your quality of life and your ability to function, that's when you need to start thinking, actually, should I get an assessment for a diagnosis? Because everybody can say they have these symptoms, but it needs to impact your functioning. It needs to impact your ability to be able to cope with day-to-day life. So, for example, managing your children, managing work, managing deadlines, impact on your relationships. So also women, and particularly women with ADHD, but children as well, tend to have difficulties with regulating and managing their emotions. So what can happen is you can kind of go from zero. A lot of children and young people say to me, they go from 0 to 10 very quickly.
Yes.
So then when you go from 0 to 10, often, you know, it comes across as though you're being rude, or you're being you know, very irritable, and you get upset very easily. And the other person, maybe your husband, your mum, your sister, your brother, your child, will think, what did I do? You know, it wasn't that bad that it warranted that kind of reaction. And so that's something also to be aware of as well, is the difficulty with managing emotions is also a feature of ADHD. But difficulty with managing emotions can also occur with any condition, such as depression, anxiety, autism. This is something that, you know, even in people that don't have any mental health problems, they can have difficulties in we call it managing, anger, or managing difficult emotions, emotional dysregulation, whatever term you want to use, it comes under that kind of category. So that kind of links to my next point about fasting, because I think fasting during Ramadan particularly is such a blessed month. We start off with such good intentions. We want to, accumulate as many rewards as we can through fasting, through praying. And we know that there's so many benefits of praying through the night, for example, and also doing additional prayer. The difficulty is that if you have ADHD, or actually any medical condition or mental health condition, whether that be an eating disorder, whether that be depression, anxiety, autism, ADHD, whatever, even a physical health condition, diabetes, if you're taking medication, that can obviously have a huge impact on your quality of life and your functioning during the daytime. So my advice would be to, first of all, if you're taking medication, to consult with your doctor. So you have GPs as a first port of call in Malaysia? Would you?
Yes, something like,
So
But
if
we
you're
don't
taking
have,
medication.
sorry, but the system is not as similar to the UK, but we do have that primary care doctor that you go to.
Sure. I mean, if you've already got like a diagnosis and you already have medication, it might be the specialist that's prescribing that medication. So if you have, for example, quite severe symptoms and you're finding it difficult to function and cope at work and at home, and you're getting very, very forgetful, you're having poor sleep, it's impacting, so many aspects of your life, then you have to think about, actually, Allah has made fasting compulsory on us, but there are exemptions. And if you are medically unwell, and ADHD does count as the condition, if you're taking medication and it's quite severe or moderate to severe, then you could be exempt from fasting, actually, because it's having such a huge impact on your life. And actually you can't function very well without it. So you can't study, you can't work, you're getting very upset, very angry, and it's just something that you're not able to manage, especially if you already have sleep difficulties. And we know that people with ADHD have difficulties with sleep, and that the medication also impacts their sleep as well. So first of all, I would check, is this something that actually I really can manage? And I did see a question when I posted about this talk from a person who said, I'm a student and I'm really struggling to manage my exams with my ADHD whilst fasting, and I feel really guilty for not being able to function very well. And what I would say to that person, or to anyone who feels guilty, I mean, I'm a consultant psychiatrist, mother of 3 children, working and trying to manage a lot of difficulties. I actually feel like sometimes, a lot of the time actually, that I have ADHD traits as well, but it doesn't impact my functioning to the point where I need to go and get, for example, medication. But that doesn't mean that you can't make lifestyle changes. And actually, I can give you some examples of what you can do to improve your quality of life whilst fasting, if you do decide to fast, and if you're not on medication, and you do have the symptoms of ADHD. So do you want me to do that now, or is there any question?
No, okay. I think, you can just share that now, inshallah.
Fine. So before I go to how to adjust your kind of schedule according to fasting, or the month of Ramadan, I think it's important to say there's lots of benefits of fasting as well, which I'm sure everybody knows about. Are you happy for me to remind people? Because for a lot of people, fasting can actually improve focus and concentration. So actually, it's proven to have physical and mental health benefits. And we know that intermittent fasting, for example, is the trend at the moment. It's promoted to help reduce weight, help to improve focus, attention, and actually improve mental health benefits as well. So this is something that we know is physically beneficial for us, and obviously we do it for a spiritual connection.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, you know, it might be helpful for many people that have symptoms of ADHD to fast. And what it also does is it improves the brain and gut connection so that our mood is improved. And we, a lot of women with ADHD do have impulsive eating habits as well.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you're fasting, you can control that because you're having to abstain from food.
Yes.
And we know that 95% of the gut, the serotonin, which is the happy hormone, is in the gut. So if we improve that brain gut axis, that can improve our serotonin levels and our mood. So actually having a healthy diet, having exercise, I'm not sure how sunny it is in Malaysia at the moment,
Very
but
sunny.
all of these, very sunny, all of these things can increase our dopamine levels. And so actually, you know, fasting increases the neurotransmitters, which actually help to reduce some of the symptoms of ADHD, such as inattention, such as poor impulsivity, and poor focus. And it improves our focus through a term called autophagy, which is essentially the blood and the blood cleans the waste products of the cells. And so through that process, it's essentially like detoxing our whole physical body and also cleansing ourselves as well spiritually. So we're going through an emotional and a physical detox.
Wow.
So it's actually quite amazing to when you think about some of the benefits of it.
Yeah.
But what I would say is, for those of you, and I know that I experience this a lot of times, I don't know how you feel about this, but when I'm fasting, I do find that the disruption to the sleep, especially when I'm working as well, is something that's really testing for me. I find it very, very difficult, and my energy levels drop very, very low around 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Do you find the same?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is probably the point where you're feeling like that now, actually, before your fast is about
But
break.
because of this live, so I think my dopamine is like, you know, because challenge, and I'm like, oh, I gotta do this.
You're on alert now.
Yes.
So I think that actually having you know, this drop is obviously expected because we've got, you know, dropping glucose levels and we're not hydrated. And so it's so important, I think, for people with ADHD or symptoms of ADHD, or actually generally those that feel anxious or, you know, do have low energy levels. It's so, so important. And it sounds so basic, but to make sure that you wake up for sahur, you have a set routine. You know your body. So whether you're the kind of person that likes to stay up throughout the night and then sleep through the day to help function better during Ramadan, do what you need to do without feeling guilty. Make those changes in your routine that helps to maximize your ability to function better. So I know, for example, that I work better in the morning. So what I do is I try to schedule all my meetings and all my really important work in the morning. And so that then by 1 o'clock, I've done all the very important kind of brain work. And then in the afternoon, that the work that requires less brain power or energy, I then leave to the afternoon. The other thing that I think really works is so making sure, obviously, that you wake up for sahur, because I know some people say, I prefer to sleep and I don't want to eat. So you need to hydrate yourself. I cannot stress enough the importance of hydration. And I tell you why I speak through experience, because I hate drinking water and I developed kidney stones one Ramadan. And it felt as bad as labor pain. And I got admitted to hospital and the doctor told me to drink 3 liters of water at sahur time. I mean, I don't know if you've ever tried drinking 3 liters of water in one go, but
No,
it's not very,
it's not very
I couldn't do
pleasant.
it. I mean, I could just about manage 1 liter. So I try my best to drink as much as possible. But the problem with doing that is then when you try to go back to sleep, you're constantly getting up to go to the toilet.
Yes.
So it's like, it's very hard, but definitely hydrate. But what I have found really useful is, I don't know if you've tried this, is electrolyte drinks. So those that have, you know, that not energy drinks, but the ones that have vitamin B1 in them, vitamin B2, vitamin B12, These kind of energy drinks, electrolyte rebalanced drinks, what they do is they help to replace any of the electrolytes that you've lost, and they help to keep you more focused and hydrated. So I would really recommend that, especially for those of you that have symptoms of ADHD where you lose your attention and your focus. What I find with this electrolyte replacement drink is that it actually increases your focus and your attention.
Wow.
So
To be taken
try that.
sahur?
Yes, you can have that sahur.
Let me Google that now. Electrolytes drink. Because is it like
And
is it like 100 plus? But that's sweet, isn't it? Like
so it's like a kind of, I mean, it's a bit like a vitamin C drink, but it's also got vitamin B1 in it as well.
oh, okay.
In the UK, it's called Baruka, but I mean, that's one of the brands. But there's lots of kind of
Gatorade, like that. Do you know that brand?
yeah,
something like that.
you know, the one that has kind of multivitamins in it, but especially B1 and B2.
Especially B1, okay. B1 and B2, okay. Inshallah.
And they kind of help you to stay kind of hydrated and focused for a bit longer. I mean, it tastes like you're drinking medicine, like this kind of, it's not great, but it definitely helps. I've had a lot of young people tell me that they've taken those electrolyte drinks, and it really helps to keep them focused. The other thing to say is, I don't know in Malaysia whether you can get melatonin over the counter, but if you struggle with sleep, melatonin is a naturally occurring hormone that's produced by the pineal gland that helps a lot of people with ADHD particularly, and we use it for children in the UK to sleep at night. Okay. I don't know how people feel about taking medication generally. If you're not taking medication and you think, oh, hang on a minute, I don't want to take medication. The thing with melatonin is it's good to help you sleep at night. It's a naturally occurring hormone. So it's not like taking a drug as such. I don't know if you can get it. I know in some countries you can get it over the counter. In others, like in the UK, you have to prescribe it.
Okay, I'm not sure. It's a prescription item in Malaysia, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Prescription for
so you could speak to your GP about it if that's something that, if sleep is a real issue for people with ADHD. The other thing to say is exercise. I know in Ramadan it's very hard because you're lacking the water, but if you exercise just after sahur or just before iftar, that is actually very, very, obviously it's good physically, but actually exercise is proven to improve symptoms of ADHD as well. Yeah. And it increases dopamine, it increases your focus and your attention. So I think that that's a really important, it doesn't have to be running. It doesn't have to be, intense cardio exercise. It could just be half an hour walking 3 times a week. Okay. I know lots of women like chatting and talking to each other and maybe going out with each other, going for a walk in the sun. You're getting your vitamin D as well.
MashaAllah.
Do you ladies like to go? Does your community like to go for walks or not?
Well, we'd like to think that we do, and I'm sure a lot of people do it. But sometimes we always maybe it's just me, but use the excuse of it's too hot. But unless it's right in the morning, like 7 o'clock, the weather's really nice. Yeah. But I'll be on the school run, like sending my kids and all. But yes, I agree with you. We need to do more walking.
Or maybe before. I know it's difficult because before iftar time, you're usually preparing the meal, so it's tricky. Or maybe after iftar, but then you're too tired and you have to pray.
So but still,
exactly.
But I think even if we can fit in a bit, like maybe 15 minutes or whatever that we can, right?
Yeah, to be honest with you, that's the next thing that I was going to say. That I would say the key take-home message from today for people with ADHD symptoms or who are struggling generally with their organization is to break things down into manageable chunks. Okay. That is the most important message, take-home message that I would give, especially for people that feel guilty. Set yourself small, achievable tasks. So rather than saying, right, I'm going to do half an hour of walking 3 times a week, or I'm going to start going to the gym every day, you could say, right, I'm just going to do 10 minutes of walking or 10 minutes of exercise, or even start with 5 minutes. And it's the same as the students that are saying to me, we're lacking our focus, we're lacking attention, we're finding it difficult to pray, to focus, to study. What I would say is the most important thing is, first of all, you have to produce a routine for yourself. You have to have structure. because people with ADHD lack structure, they lack organization. The executive functioning of the brain is compromised. So we have to improve our executive functioning by producing a timetable. And timetable and structure really, really helps. Now, don't beat yourself up if you don't stick to the timetable. That's the other thing. But if you've got a plan, or you've got, just like in Islam, we have to have intention to pray or intention to fast. In the same way, you have intention to plan and intention to create a timetable. And within that timetable, you have to adapt it to fasting, because obviously you're going to be getting up earlier, you're going to be more tired, so you need to try and factor in going to sleep earlier, you're going to be eating at different times. So all of this needs to be adjusted in your timetable. And you need to write down, when is the best time that I function? When is my optimum functioning? Is it at night? Is it in the morning? Is it in the afternoon? You need to capture that time, that 3 to 4 hour window period, when your functioning is most optimum at the maximum levels. And during that time, that's where you don't say, right, because a lot of ADHDers will say, right, I'm going to do 50 of my tasks in 1 hour. What you do is you slow down, you take a step back, and that's one of the benefits of fasting. It does slow you down a bit. It does reduce your energy levels. And what you have to do is you have to try to break things down into manageable chunks. You've got to make sure that your schedule is saying, right, from 9 till 10, I'm going to do 40 minutes. And you can use a timer, for example. You know yourself best, and if you find it's better, and if you're not sure, maybe ask a friend or ask a family member, when do you think I'm most optimum in my functioning or in my ability to interact, and when do I pay the most attention? But you need to make sure that the space in which you're studying or you're working is clear, because we know that people with ADHD are disorganized, they're untidy, there's lots of clutter. And you can't focus or concentrate when there's all these distractions around you. So it's so important to make your environment clutter free. So the first thing that I would say to students that are asking me, how do I focus better, is, first of all, know yourself. When is the best time that you work? When is the best time that you function? Then create a timetable and a routine and a plan, but break it down into manageable chunks. I need to do this much study for, if you can only focus for 20 minutes or 10 minutes, do it for the time that you can focus for. And then have a checklist and tick off, right, I did task 1, I did task 2, and it's quite satisfactory, and it improves your dopamine when you tick that box, because you're thinking, right, I've completed this task now. Set a timer on your phone, so that, or a stopwatch, that says, right, I only need to focus for this 10 minutes or this 20 minutes, and then give yourself a reward, whether that be, well, you can't drink or eat during Ramadan, so you can't say, right, I'm going to go and have a chocolate, or I'm going to have a piece of cake or something. But maybe if you like Instagram, or you like watching something, or you like listening to Quran, whatever it is that you like doing, reward yourself with that, so that then it motivates you to come back. And then what you do is you allow yourself, if you know yourself well enough, allow yourself those movement breaks, because people with ADHD find it difficult to sit still. They find it difficult to stay focused for prolonged periods of time. So you need to break it down, and you need to allow yourself those breaks. You need to allow yourself the ability to have some downtime, especially when you're fasting. You're going to feel quite exhausted quickly. Some people absolutely love power naps. They set an alarm on their phone for 10 minutes. I wouldn't advise sleeping for like 2 hours in the day, because then you can't sleep very well at night. But I think the optimum time is about 20 minutes to half an hour. So if you find that you're crashing, because that's what tends to happen with people with ADHD, they tend to crash, they burn out. It's all or nothing. So I would say, just schedule, right, if I know that I can focus really well for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour, whatever it is, do that. And then if you crash and you're really low in energy and you can't eat, you can't drink, then have a power nap. Have it for no longer than half an hour, and see if that makes a difference. And even if you say, well, I'm not sleeping and I don't I don't feel energized afterwards. Even if you just shut your eyes, you can actually and try to rest your mind. It is very powerful. So
Take the
I
nap.
would also say turn to others for support. So family, friends, connections with the community. This is crucial. If you are struggling, do not struggle alone. I can guarantee you, if you are feeling guilty for missing your prayer or for being disorganized or missing your deadline, there will be so many other people in the same boat as you. And if you share that problem, I'm telling you, guaranteed there will be other people that are experiencing the same problem. And we say that a problem shared is a problem halved. We know that when we talk about things with others, it actually reduces our burden, and we feel lighter, we feel happier. And I would say also, for those of you that are quite hyperactive and find it difficult to sit still and are always on the go, focus when you're trying to study or you're trying to do something that requires a long period of attention. If you can, try to focus on doing, not just observing or reading. So, for example, scribbling notes, doodling, having something to kind of fidget with, or a doodle pad, or something to help you to manage that extra kind of energy that you have. Some people have like standing desks. Some people have some really, innovative things at the moment. Some people have an exercise bike with their laptop on top. Like there's so many different ways you can kind of, burn off this excess energy that you have. And then reward yourself when you have achieved something that you weren't able to achieve before. And I can't stress enough, the more order and structure you try to put into your life, if you have a timetable, there's timetable apps on your phone, and your phone can set you alarms and reminders. The more you do that, the more structured you will be, and the less guilty you will feel. So I think that's mainly the main tips that I would give for people with ADHD that are also fasting and need to, have some advice about how to study better and how to work better.
MashaAllah. Yeah, subhanallah. I mean, all these tips are like something that is so going to be helpful for me too, inshallah. And especially the one that I really like your point on knowing yourself and when is our most productive time. Because as someone with ADHD, we tend to put really high goals for ourselves, and then you want to do everything just at that time, and then things happen, or you just have this time blindness where you don't feel the urgency to do things, and then you start to beat yourself up when you don't achieve what you plan to achieve, subhanallah. But I think inshallah, if I'm able to find out when is my most productive time, then I shouldn't be feeling bad about myself. So it's like I can just schedule my day to be productive in that time, and then if I need to rest or whatever, I can do it afterwards, rather than like.
And that just and that just doesn't apply just to Ramadan. It applies to your life generally, because having ADHD or being neurodiverse or having symptoms of ADHD, it doesn't matter if you have the diagnosis or not, in my eyes. I think the most important thing is to know, what are my strengths and what are my difficulties? What makes me function better? What makes me a better person? What makes me struggle? And every human being, regardless of whether they have a diagnosis or no diagnosis, they will be struggling with something. They will have strengths in one area and weaknesses in another. So I would say, don't attach so much to the outcome, but focus on the process of enjoying the journey, of enjoying the task that you need to do. Sometimes it's a burden and you're not going to enjoy it, but we know that not everything is enjoyable. Fasting isn't enjoyable for many people. It is testing. And as we know, the month of Ramadan is a time for us to reflect, to recalibrate. And actually, I think another take-home message would be if you've never thought about this before, you've never thought about, what are my strengths? When do I function best? What makes me, excited or happy or at peace? Use this time now to reflect. Get a journal, start writing these things down. And it's proven, research proves that keeping a diary, writing a journal, talking to others is a very effective way of learning and knowing yourself. And if you know yourself, you are closer to your Lord and your
Yeah.
Creator.
Subhanallah.
So it's such an important process to think about. And we know that, meditation, dhikr, listening to the Quran, these are all things that are ways to soothe the mind, to calm the mind. And if any of you have tried meditation, if you have tried listening to the Quran regularly, you will notice there are therapeutic benefits of that as well.
Yeah, mashallah, that's so true.
So
Subhanallah.
I think that's everything that I wanted to. I'm just looking at my notes to see that
No, it's so
I like to
useful,
exhaust
subhanallah.
everything.
But thank you. I just want to share from Sister Madiha Murtaza on Facebook. She said, Salam, sisters. Thank you for this live. I struggle horribly with dehydration while fasting. My ADHD medication makes me feel so dehydrated so fast, and it's been so difficult. I take my Elvans or Vivans at suhoor, but unfortunately have to be really careful with what I drink alongside it. Vitamin C really reduces the efficiency of lisdexamfetamine. Yeah.
Now, what I would say is, if you could take, I mean, that you can get drinks without vitamin C inside as well, like there's vitamin B. But also what I would say is that if you can, before you take, and I know this is difficult, because maybe if you could get up, I don't know, half an hour before suhoor, but before you're getting up, to drink more. So essentially you're adjusting your routine according to your difficulties. So your difficulty is that you are dehydrated and you need to hydrate yourself. Now, the only way you can do that is either by waking up earlier to drink more, or when you eat at iftar time, you drink before you eat. So you take maybe 2 glasses of water before you eat your food. And then you eat some food and you're going to feel full quite quickly, because I've noticed this as well. When I try to drink more and you want to eat all the food, but you're like, I don't want to fill myself up with water. But just constantly drinking throughout the night. Like, if you don't want to wake up earlier, stay awake later. I don't know what the sister's sleep is like, but maybe she might, if she's taking Elvance, I know it can affect your sleep as well. So if you have poor sleep, in a way, that's an advantage for you, because if you're up longer, you can drink more.
I see. That's a positive way of looking at it too, right?
Yeah, it's trying to turn the negative into a positive somehow.
And I think if we train our mind to look at it that way, then we start to embrace the differences that we have and try to adapt to it. MashaAllah. So
the other thing I would say, though, is, like I said at my first point, is if it is so difficult with taking the medication and you do genuinely feel really dehydrated and you can't function, it comes back to my original point that when you are affected physically and mentally, there is that exemption from fasting. And I know people feel so guilty about this, but you have to take on board how much you can cope with and how much your body and your mind can cope with.
I think that's a very strong point, because my psychiatrist told me this too. I think, a year ago, he said that some of his patients who can't fast, but they feel guilty, because you think that it's not a physical illness, right? It's not something that you can see, that a tummy ache, or you've got, you take medication for antibiotic or something. But for the person going through the suffering, they really suffer, right? From dehydration, and it's like you just can't function, especially when you have the ADHD paralysis. We just like, subhanallah. I mean, that's why I think you have to talk to someone. And for me, I am open about my diagnosis, because I want to help people to know that all we want to do in our life is to improve ourselves, right? We want to be better and better. And having a diagnosis doesn't mean that there's anything wrong or bad with you. It's just that identifying that, oh, okay, there's something, I have this diagnosis, I'm neurodivergent in this way, and there are things that I can do to adapt in my daily life. The struggle is going to be a bit more than neurotypical in so many ways. But after some time, Dr. Kiran, I've learned to accept that I'm kinder to myself. I think it's important for us to be more compassionate with ourselves.
I agree with you.
Right, because I think with ADHD, as a nature of the person, would be always wanting to have, like big goals, and I want to do this and that, and you have this spurt of energy that I think I can do this right now, I can achieve everything like right now. And then when you go through that crash, then you're like, where did that all go? Subhanallah. But I really like that you said that we have to break down our goals or our tasks into chunks and just be kind to yourself and just work along with your brain, right? Like we have to work with ourselves. So for me, personally in Ramadan, I noticed that when I'm at home, it's very hard for me to do things because I don't have that structure. But so I joined the Quran reading group in the morning, and that has kept me consistent in reading my Quran, because I have, when you go to a place in a group and you have everybody, you have the teacher,
You're
so
accountable.
accountability partners, and then I think is that thrill of going out, dressing up and meeting people, and you find the fun out of it, and it helps me to be consistent with my Quran. Yeah, so
it's
I think
the same with
sorry.
It's the same with weight loss, or it's the same with even studying, whatever goal you have. If you've got another person with you, alongside you, motivating you, research actually shows that you're more likely to achieve that outcome.
MashaAllah, that's so true. Is that the same as the body doubling kind of concept? Yeah. Oh, okay. So just having the other person, they don't have to do anything. All they need to do is just be there, and suddenly we can finish that homework that we've been postponing so long. Yeah, mashallah.
If you're popular, most people with ADHD, they tend to be quite popular, sociable. So if you are like that, use your resources, use your contacts, use your social network to help you.
Oh, yes. I think that really applies to me, because because I'm very sociable, and then people, like to talk to me and meet me. So I use that, sometimes we just call up a friend and say like, can I go to your house? And we just chat. And then I just want to do I do an hour's work on my laptop. And then she's like, okay, so you get a bit of everything, it's like that social part, and also for completing my work, mashallah. So let me read Madiha's comment. Jazakallah khair, sister. I have managed to find a good routine, alhamdulillah. It's just that because I sleep straight after Isha, I then am not drinking water consistently all night. This is actually my first Ramadan in 3 years that I have decided to fast again, as I was previously struggling too much with my health to do so, mashallah. May Allah grant you strength, subhanallah. One other question.
What I just say to her though is that if it's her first Ramadan, don't be hard on yourself. If don't set this task to kind of fast. Obviously, you may have the intention to fast every day, and Allah rewards you for your intention. But if you are struggling and you have one day which is not great and you can't fast, then take a day off and then go back to fasting again. It's better than not fasting at all. So like, as long as you've made that intention that you want to fast, but physically you're struggling, take a break as well, and don't feel guilty about that, because you need to look at where you started. You've gone from not fasting for 3 years because you were physically struggling so much to now starting to fast. And that road for kind of recovery is an up and down process. It doesn't go all the way straight up. So you need to understand that, there will be down days, there will be difficult days, and it's okay to not fast on those days. And then you'll start fasting again. Everybody's on their own journey. So don't feel that, because I think often people feel they're going to be judged and then they feel more guilty.
Yeah. Exactly. And then, I can understand, but I think that's a very useful tip from Doctor, inshallah. So her other question is, I would like to ask, is if you have any suggestions for attention or focus when praying and reading the Quran. I find my mind wanders no matter how much I try to focus, and the guilt in doing this makes me feel like my iman is weakening, and it is so disheartening to feel this. I have gone as far as to try to learn some of the Arabic cues so that I can focus on the meanings of what I am reciting, but I still struggle. Yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that. And I think this is a common struggle, actually. But I think it comes down to what I said earlier about breaking it down into manageable chunks. So I don't know how long you're listening for or how long you're reading for. But actually, if you know that your mind wanders, maybe start with just trying to focus, go back to basics. So just start with focusing. Your task is to just focus for 1 minute. Then it is to try and focus for 2 minutes, then 3. Then building it up gradually. Focusing on the meaning of something, I think, helps your attention and concentration, especially if you don't understand it. Everyone is going to be distracted because you don't know what you're listening to. Some people obviously find that listening to the Quran, just the melody or the sound of it is quite soothing. But I would try to reduce the time that you're praying or listening to the Quran for, and then build it back up again, so that you do have that focus and that attention for a bit longer each time. Because even maybe even set yourself a timer. I'm just going to listen for 2 minutes or 5 minutes, and then see if that improves your concentration.
Okay, that's very, very helpful.
Maybe try listening to a different reciter. Maybe look into apps that, explore. There's so much out there on the market in terms of, a Quran recitation and dhikr. You can really be quite creative with it.
Yeah.
Maybe get a friend to read with you and recite with you.
Yes, that's true, actually. Yeah, you can just go on Zoom or video call, right? And
yeah,
set.
Again, we said about doing it in a group.
Yes, it helps. It helps. Like, even for me, going to the mosque helps me to do that routine of praying Maghrib, Isha, Tarawih, and Witr. Because when I'm at home, I will come up with my own excuses, like, oh, just, I can wait 10 more minutes, and then I have a toddler who will need me to put her to sleep. And then, I end up like procrastinating, and that doesn't feel good at all. So I told myself, you know what, I will go to the mosque, inshallah, so that I can complete all these necessary things that I want to do for myself. So when I go home at night, I feel settled. Because I think the thing that we struggle the most with is that guilty feeling, the feeling bad about yourself. So if we know how to adjust our routine and know what we need, inshallah, we can lessen the guilt and all these bad feelings, right? Subhanallah. Okay, I think you also have to go soon, right, Dr.
Yes,
You're
I
going
do.
to
I mean, have we got any more questions?
Okay, so far, no.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
if anybody does want to ask questions, because I do need to leave, but if anybody does have questions, this is recorded, isn't it?
Yes, it's
So
recorded.
if they've watched it and they want to message me on my Instagram or Facebook or message you, then you can forward the questions. I'm more than happy to answer.
Yes, I will share your link, inshallah. And do you have any programs or workshops or courses that we can join, inshallah?
I would love to come to Malaysia and do it live.
Yes.
So because I'm actually planning to come to some schools there and deliver some workshops. So maybe I will contact you to let you know. But I can also do lots of workshops online for parenting. So a lot of parenting, mindful parenting courses. I do how to manage ADHD symptoms as a whole course, a workshop. I do managing neurodiversity, managing anxiety, how to manage difficult behavior in children, how to understand your teen. There's a lot.
There's a lot of things. We can plan that. Yeah, we can plan that, inshallah. If it's online, I think it's something that we can plan to do it, inshallah. But I would love to host you when you're in Malaysia, inshallah. Do come and visit us.
I'll send you the information about some of the courses and workshops I do. We can start with some online ones.
Yes,
and then we can talk about when I come and meet in person as well, inshallah.
Yes, inshallah. Okay, so thank you, Dr. Kiran. Happy fasting.
Thank you so much.
Ramadan Mubarak to you.
Ramadan Mubarak.
Ramadan Mubarak. Okay, thank you, Sister Madiha. Jazakallah to you both for taking this time. This has been so helpful. May Allah reward you both for your work. Alhamdulillah, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah, that's
and
good to
Sister
know.
Umi Kalsom said, Shafakila Madiha, may Allah ease yours and all our affairs. Have a blessed Jum'ah and Ramadan. Thanks, Mama Tia, for having this talk. Alhamdulillah. So I thank the audience. For you, those of you who might not fully understand because it's in English, inshallah, don't worry. You can also, I'll speak in Malay a bit, Dr. Kiran. Kepada yang tidak faham bahasa Inggeris, tapi Dr. Kiran adalah orang yang memang boleh bertutur dalam bahasa Inggeris, bukan bahasa Melayu. Dan Mama Tia pun tak nak terus ambil masa dan terjemah-terjemah terus sebab masa pun agak padat, tadi ada technical issue di Instagram dan sebagainya. Tapi please, kalau ada rasa macam Mama Tia, I need help for you to translate a bit this part yang Dr. Kiran cakap sebab apa yang you tak faham sangat, please send me a message. InsyaAllah, I will be more than happy to help you untuk terjemahkan apa yang Dr. Kiran maksudkan tu. Okay, insyaAllah. So thank you so much, Dr. Kiran. I think, do you have any last words for you to say before we leave, insyaAllah?
No, just wanted to say thank you so much for inviting me and apologies for the technical errors earlier.
No worries.
And I would love to collaborate with you more in the future, inshallah.
Inshallah. Jazakillah khair.
Take care.
And I actually
My
found,
pleasure.
before that, I forgot to say that I found your Instagram page from my friend. So she said that, oh, I hardly see Muslim doctors speaking about ADHDs. And I followed your Instagram page, and that was immediately I connected with you, because I was like, Ya Allah, this is so what I need, the
It's
content that I need.
important.
Yes, so important. So Jazakillah khair. So inshallah,
Jazakallah to
we'll
you
meet
too.
again. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Okay, Dr. Kiran, have a good day.
Thank you. And it's great work what you're doing as well, raising awareness by
Thank
talking
you.
about what you have. So I think it's brilliant. Take care.
Alhamdulillah. Bye-bye.
Alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum.